What's going on, guys? It's Hi with Upper Left USA, and today is December 31st, 2018, which means it's New Year's Eve 2018, and I'm doing my last hike of the year. Today's hike is at Wallace Falls, which is a first for me, but I've actually driven past this trailhead multiple times as you go through Leavenworth and other places towards eastern Washington. And according to the sign at the trailhead, it's about 2.7 miles in, 2.7 miles out, so about 5.4 miles, but of course that's if you go the entire way to visit all the falls because there's more than one of them. That is of course the plan for today, but let's just see what we can get. So it may be a little bit hard to tell as I'm walking deeper into the woods, but the sun is rising behind me, and that's really adding some atmosphere to the dark forest this morning. It's kind of weird to say this because it's been raining here in Washington for the past couple weeks straight, so I haven't been able to go out and do anything at all. But I kind of didn't want the sun to be this crazy this morning. As I was driving here this morning, the road for the entire drive was just blanketed in fog, and I was really hoping for that fog to still be here when I got to the trail. But literally 9 minutes out from the trailhead, after I went over this one hill, all the fog just completely disappeared immediately. So here, I mean, it's good weather. It's weird again to complain about it, but I'm kind of disappointed. So I've come up on the first waterfall, which is Small Falls Interpretive Trail, an amphitheater. I'm not quite sure what this means, the interpretive trail thing. So like I said, this is my first time at Wallace Falls and Wallace Falls State Parks, and I have to say that I'm a little bit impressed this morning, even though I've only been on the trail for a few minutes. And that's the thing, within a few minutes you actually see a lot on this trail. I've seen a couple streams, a couple waterfalls, and I'm walking through a giant forest, so things are good right now. And again, I am impressed. Just walking down the little boardwalk that I showed you, you literally come right next to the Small Falls, this little mini waterfall, and I think this is the spot for my first photo of the day. Now hopefully you guys can hear me over this waterfall, but I've set up the camera to what I think is a fairly straightforward composition. Vertical orientation, just shooting straight towards the waterfall. I have this little curve in the water, capturing pretty much everything and a little bit of the trees. Now for this particular composition, I do have these logs in front of me that are fairly close to the camera, about 4 feet or so. So I'm not going to be able to capture front to back sharpness like I want for this particular photo. So what I'm going to have to do is pretty much focus on the logs, and then focus farther away towards probably about the middle foreground, and that should capture about everything that I want in focus. I would probably have to bracket my exposure too because the lighting here is a little bit difficult. The sun is coming through the rainforest like I mentioned earlier, and the sky is really bright. I'm not sure if I'm going to include that yet, but the foreground, midground is fairly dark. So again, I might just have to bracket my exposure to get everything even. As you guys can see, I've decided to bring out the filter system, and really the only filter that I'm going to be using today or for this particular shot is my polarizer, because there's a lot of wet rocks, so there's going to be a lot of glare, and of course all the leaves are going to have some glare to them. So with the polarizer, we're going to cut that down and really increase saturation and increase contrast. Check this out. I'm going to cut away to the footage that I'm currently recording on this A7R III right now, which is going to be a little bit weird because I'm at vertical orientation, but just take note of the polarizer. Watch out for the tree trunk at the bottom of the frame. As I spin the circular polarizer, just look at how dark the tree becomes and how contrasty and saturated it is because the glare is removed. And again, here is the polarizer at minimum, and then we're just gonna dial it in to increase more contrast, and it's such a big difference even in the water. Alright, I finally got my settings dialed in. We are looking at 1.3 seconds for the shutter, f8 at ISO 100. So let's take this picture and see what we get. So as you can see, the sun is pretty much fully out now, which is surprising. Like I said, it's been raining for the past couple of weeks, and the sun is completely lighting this tree canopy on fire. And it's looking pretty good, but it's not really reaching the canopy floor, so I'm not really catching any of those like puddle of lights anywhere yet. So hopefully I'll find some soon. So as I was taking a break back there, I noticed that little patch of mushrooms, which I really liked. It was really aesthetic to me, and I really wanted to take a picture of it, but not just how it was, more of a macro shot, which I typically always bring. I always bring my macro setup. But of course, today's the day. I told myself I'm not going to take any macro photos today. Of course, I didn't bring it, and what a waste. So I've come to a part of the forest that really caught my attention. It's super aesthetic right now. The sun is really hitting hard down on the tree branches and just really lighting them up with a little mini waterfall stream in the background. This could really make an image, but unfortunately it's not really an image that I'm looking for, and it's more, I really don't feel like taking this picture, even though I'm sure that somebody can get something really good out of this. So as I was walking, I just happened to turn around and catch this. Look at those sun rays. Let me exposure cut up. You can barely see it, but there is a lot of sun rays going on, and this is the spot of the next photo. Change of plans. Just as I was taking my backpack off, the sun rays disappeared. The sun just, I don't know what happened, became less intense, but missed a major opportunity right there. That could have been an amazing shot. Alright, just as I'm walking some more, the sun is back out and shining like crazy down this little meadow, which I have to really set up and get this thing down right now. Okay, so I've just managed to blast off some shots of the sun rays, and I didn't really have time, or I didn't think that I would have time to set up because the sun rays are going in and out, disappearing really fast, so I just had to not even get out the A7R III and just take some quick pictures really quick with the vlogging cam, the A7R II right now, which does amazing photo qualities anyways, but I didn't have time to really talk it over with you guys. But to recap, in my mind, I think that photo is going to turn out insane, possibly in a bad way, because I didn't have time to set up, I didn't have time to look for a composition. I really just put the camera down and tried to capture some sun rays and just blast up some shots, a 5-stop bracket, and that's pretty much it. And the rest is just going to see how I can manage it in post. So I've just made it to the Olympic skyline viewpoint, and that's essentially what you are seeing, all of this right here. And as you can see, there's a lot of low-hanging clouds, possibly a cloud inversion over there. If I had a 70 to 200 or a 100 to 400, some telephoto like that, I could possibly zoom in and capture a pretty decent image from this viewpoint. But unfortunately, all I brought today was a 24 to 70, so just have to enjoy it in the moment. Okay, so after some walking, it looks like I finally made it to Lower Falls. Well, it looks like you can actually see, I'm not sure if it's Middle or Upper Falls, but there's definitely two different falls right here. But then again, I'm not sure if this is Lower Falls or this is Lower Falls, because this is more like a little stream. I guess you can call it a little waterfall, but it is what it is. So I've made it to Lower Falls, which will be my final destination for the day. I'm not going to go to Middle and Upper Falls and just leave that for another adventure for another day. But I've set up the camera 24/70 again because that's all I've brought. And of course the polarizer is back out and pretty fairly simple setup. This is about it. Set up with the Lower Falls, what I'm thinking is Lower Falls, at the foreground. And of course the middle ground is going to be a line of trees separating Upper or Middle Falls, whatever it is in the background. Now right now what I'm seeing on the back monitor is a very high dynamic range shot because the foreground is fairly dark and the background where Upper Middle Falls is and the upper skyline of trees is very bright, so I'm gonna have to bracket this for sure. Again, I will also have to focus stack because the Lower Falls is pretty close to me, whereas the Upper Falls and the background skyline of trees is fairly far away. So again, I'll just have to both bracket my shot in terms of exposure and focus stack. As for right now, 0.4 of a second shutter, f8 at ISO 100 for my middle shot for the middle bracket, doing a 5 bracket, and let's get this over with. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for this little adventure, and of course it's also going to be it for 2018. Like I said at the beginning of this video, my last hike and last video for 2018, and I just want to thank everybody who's been along for this journey before this year, and of course everybody who's joined on for 2018. Thanks so much for supporting this channel. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it around, comment down below any thoughts or questions you may have. Don't forget to subscribe because there will be a lot more adventures to come in the coming years. So thank you again for watching this video. See you guys in the next one.